This is a video series about the mythology and the legends of Greece especially. And I begin with the story of Oedipus. The story of Oedipus is basically this. Jocasta and Laius, the king or the queen and king of Thebes, are told in a prophecy that any child that's born to Laius will kill his father and marry his mother. In order to prevent that from happening, when Jocasta conceives a child and gives birth to a baby boy, they take the baby boy and they expose him on the hillside. That is, they lay him out on the hillside to rot and to be eaten by the birds and the dogs. It's an ancient world form of abortion, infanticide instead of abortion. And they lay him out there in order to make sure that he doesn't live. They take a stake and they drive it through his heels in order to pin him to the ground. But as fate would have it, a kindly shepherd comes by and he finds the young child there dying on the hillside, and he has mercy on him. Takes him back to his own home. And this shepherd then gives the child to a servant, a butler, in the house of Oedipus, the king of Corinth, who, with his queen, Merope, they have had no children themselves, and so they adopt this little boy as their own, and they raise him as though he were their own. This little boy then, because he has swollen feet, or an edema, as the term is, he is named Oedipus, which means swollen foot, or Mr. Stinky Foot, as I like to say. Mr. Stinky Foot is growing up in the house there, Oedipus of Corinth, and he becomes a strapping young lad, a 16, 17-year-old guy, and he's good looking, and he's wealthy, and he's athletic. And in a party one night, he's told by a drunkard that he is not really the son of Oedipus, that he's been adopted. And he's kind of scared by this. And he goes to his father Oedipus and he says, "Dad, is this true? Have I been adopted?" And Oedipus denies the fact that he's been adopted. And so Oedipus sends to the oracle at Delphi and consults the oracle and asks the oracle, "Am I the son of Oedipus?" Well, the oracle, in its normal way, doesn't tell him that he's the son of Oedipus or not, but instead it tells him that he's destined to murder his father and marry his mother. Quite the news to get, of course, and Oedipus is terrified, and so he flees from the court of Corinth in order not to kill his father Oedipus and his queen and his mother Merope. But as fate again would have it, this is ironic, because of course Oedipus, fleeing from his parents, ends up fleeing from people that are not his parents, and he goes out in the wide world to seek his fortune. But he's traveling along one day, and he comes to a place where three roads meet, and he sees coming down the road an old man in a chariot with his bodyguard, and there's only room for one of them to pass down that third route. Either the wealthy older man will pass down that route, or the vagrant young man will pass down that route. And the vagrant young man, Oedipus, says to the old man, "Get out of the way, old man. Let me pass. I'm younger. I deserve to pass." The older man says to the younger man, "Get out of the way, you young snot-nose. I have the right of way, seniority, old age, and all that." So the two of them neither one will allow for the other to pass. And so the old man says that his bodyguards after Oedipus, and they go up to kill him. And Oedipus takes them all down, kills them all the bodyguards. And then he goes after the old man who now is approaching to attack him. And he brains the old man and kills him. It turns out that old man is his father. So immediately 50% of the legend, the oracle, is fulfilled. And Oedipus goes along until he comes to the city of Thebes. And here the city of Thebes has been plagued by a sphinx. It's descended upon the city, a monstrous beast, half woman, half lion, half eagle. And it's devouring anybody that goes in or out of the city. And so all trade is stopped within the city, and the city is terrified of this monster that's descended upon it. The monster asks a question. The question, if it's not answered correctly, results in the monster devouring whoever has failed at answering the question. And it asks the question as follows. What walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening? Well, the answer is man, human beings. Man as a baby walks on 4 legs crawling in the morning of its life, and 2 legs at noon, the peak of its life, and 3 legs when he uses a cane in old age. Oedipus comes along and he answers the question quickly, blithely, without any effort, and the Sphinx is defeated, and the city is liberated, and all the people are excited, and they come out pouring out of the city. And they say, "Will you be our king? Please be our king." And they bring Oedipus into the city, and they set him up as king, and he's young and strong and handsome, and they say, in addition to being our king, you'll have this beautiful woman as your wife. A bit older than Oedipus, but she's beautiful. Recently widowed woman named Jocasta. So Oedipus gladly accepts the marriage with the queen, and he gladly accepts the kingship. And this is the top of the world for him. He's gained everything he's ever wanted: fame, fortune, beautiful wife. And it's only 7 years or 8 years later, after they've had 4 or 5 kids, that it begins to perhaps dawn on him that things are not entirely good. And of course our play, Sophocles, picks up there in the last few years of his reign as king of Thebes, where he finally discovers who Jocasta is and who he is. And it is quite horrifying to him.